Guys, good evening everybody. Hope everyone is having a great day so far. Glad to have y'all here back again for some more updates. What's up guys? Hope everyone's doing well. Let's go and see who we got here for today before we dive on into it. We got Brooklyn, we have Aiden, we have John, we have ourselves Mazio, we got ourselves Courtney. Let's see who else is hanging out with us. We have Sam, we have Barbara, Sharon, Colin, John, Elaney, we have Jonathan, Divinely, we have Logan, Kathleen. What's up, everybody? It was Teef 2014. See what's up, Kathy. Hope you're doing good. Hello from Florida. Well, I'm right there with you, my friend. What's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing well. So, first of all, what I want to say is actually tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. That's what I want to go ahead and say. Not today. Get that right off the bat. Today's not the day of severe weather. Tomorrow is, though. Tomorrow is the day we need to look out there for. Team Kenny, dude, member for 13 months, Category 1 Club. Saying hello, everyone. What's up, man? Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, so tomorrow is the day that we need to be looking out there for. Now, the SPC has actually introduced a slight risk, another level 2 threat here for tomorrow. Across portions out there by Key West, including Miami. Fort Lauderdale area included as well. We have Homestead. We got Everglades City. We got Marco Island. We got a lot of these areas here in southern Florida that is included in the level 2 threat. Now, the level 1 threat goes through most of the state, as you guys can actually see, including portions like Jacksonville. We got Tampa. We got Orlando, obviously. Daytona Beach, Cape Coral, a lot of those main areas like Naples and Coral Springs, etc. Basically, the line of severe weather is going to be happening on this side over here. It's going to be happening on this side. We're not really expecting severe weather to occur towards the Panhandle. So the people in the Panhandle, honestly, I think you guys are relatively good to go. There is obviously potentially going to be a couple thunderstorms to roll through to the Panhandle here. We'll probably see a couple rumbles of thunder here and there, but we're not expecting severe weather to occur out in those regions there. What's the highlighted spot in South Florida? So, yeah, that's that level 2 threat I was talking about. That's the slight risk, the level 2 severe weather threat out there. So, this is basically the region where we have the greatest severe weather potential, and we'll break that down here in a second. But first of all, I want to go over timing before we break it down. Like I said, there is all hazards expected with this event. There's tornadoes, large hail damaging winds, and this event's actually going to be a relatively early one. Believe it or not, it's going to be relatively early. It's not going to really start impacting Florida until we reach basically right around 8, 9 a.m. So it's going to be a pretty early event here. What's a little concerning is obviously I see why they added the slight risk there. We have almost like an MCS, which is just a big cluster of a thunderstorm that could be pretty pretty bad. So we have this big Boeing-like segment here, which, these MCSs, they typically do bring some damaging winds. And that's exactly why the Storm Prediction Center actually put out a level 2 threat, is because of this MCS ordeal that's potentially going to be impacting portions here of southern Florida, like really, really, really far southern Florida. But like I said, yeah, the severe threat does go up even higher, all the way up into northern Florida even. But yeah. Let's see. What's up, Haley? Hope you're doing good. What's up, KDGF? Kathleen, member for 7 months, Cat 1 Club. Thank you, Kathleen, saying 7 months. Holy smokes, it's been that long already. Jesus, time flies. Let's see. I'll have my pink hurricane before I know it. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kathleen. Appreciate that. Much appreciated. But yeah, so obviously South Florida has like the greatest threat here regarding the severe weather, because we're going to be seeing this MCS ordeal. I'm going to try to be live here to cover this. I don't know if I will be able to, because like I said, it's going to be relatively early. I mean, the main event will be gone by noon. So it's really like an early morning type of event here, as you guys can actually see. Now, here's the thing, though. As we continue into the evening, there will be the possibility of maybe a few more cells on northern Florida here. This is right around 3 p.m. tomorrow. This will be happening up there towards northern Florida. The central and southern side of Florida at this time will probably be clear according to this model. I mean, obviously take this model with a grain of salt. It's never going to be fully accurate. But yeah, it does show a bit of convection, a bit more thunderstorm activity, potentially severe thunderstorm activity, in northern Florida right around basically kind of late afternoon, almost early evening at that point. But overall, it should be out by the evening time overall. But then we continue to work our way down in time, and it looks like for the early 5th, we could get a lot more precipitation, mostly for the southern side of Florida, before all of that precipitation just decides to continue rolling out. Do I think the slight risk areas are just a taste of what spring might be like? I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, spring does bring more severe weather, and obviously, we do see more severe weather events in springtime. So yeah, you can consider this a taste for severe weather. Or taste of the season. I do think that spring will be pretty active for a lot of the South, personally. Considering it's actually been pretty active for a little bit here. Let's see here. What's it going to be like in Panama City? Gotcha. So, Panama City, like I said, obviously you guys are not expecting anything severe. You're in the general thunderstorm risk, which basically just says, hey, there's a possibility for a couple thunderstorms, but, it's not supposed to be anything massive. It's not supposed to be anything severe out in that region. The severe zone, the area where severe weather is expected, is going to be across portions like northern, central, and southern Florida, excluding the panhandle here. But let's go ahead and work over to the risk here. Obviously, I want to talk about that. That's very important information for you guys, so let's go ahead and get that out there for you. So the tornado probability, like I said, we do have a tornado's probability. And here's the thing. The tornado probability is higher than it was yesterday. We actually have a 5% zone for tornadoes tomorrow here in southern Florida, like I said, including Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, obviously Key West, really the entire Keys, not just Key West. So honestly, I really do think that there could be a potential for a lot of water spouts out in this region here. So water spouts, I'd say, is a big problem. Obviously, tornadoes, if they work their way inland, that could be an issue. All kinds of things like that definitely could be a bit of a problem. So, like I said, the tornado threat, the biggest tornado threat for tomorrow's risk will be in southern Florida, where that level 2 threat is. But the tornado threat does extend through the majority of Florida. As you guys can see, we have a big, large 2% region, which, like I've said before, the 2% zone is the lowest tornado threat on the scale here from the Storm Prediction Center. However, what this is essentially saying is that a tornado or two could happen somewhere across Florida. But once you work your way, like I said, further down to the south in southern Florida, that's where we could have a couple of tornadoes, maybe anywhere from like 2 to 3 potentially. I mean, it's not always going to play out like that. I mean, there's going to be days where 5% risks don't play out to hardly anything, and there's going to be times where 5% risks overperform. I mean, I've seen them both happen, both hands. So I wouldn't expect an exact amount of tornadoes. I would just say that, your greatest probability of tornadoes, this is the way I'd look at it, is your greatest probability of tornadoes is in southern Florida. The very far southern tip of Florida is where your greatest tornado concerns are actually. So that is what's going on there. And like I said, obviously the risk, like I said, this goes all the way up here into northern Florida by Jacksonville. We got places out there by like Tampa, Orlando, and all kinds of stuff like that. Let's see. Will this be upgraded to a level 3? No, I don't think so. What was that? I've never heard that tone before. Let's see here. How's Minnesota? Minnesota's fine. There's nothing severe going on up there. A little too early for all that activity. See, sorry I'm late. What about Tampa? Got friends there. Gotcha. Yeah, so Tampa, like I said, we do have that level 1 threat overall. There is a tornado probability. We do have that marginal risk at level 1 for severe weather. So just give them a heads up. Be like, hey, there's a possibility we could get a couple of severe storms out nearby. But, for the most part, it's nothing to freak out over. I'm mostly concerned for, obviously, southern Florida with that MCS the models are talking about. So if I zoom back here a little bit. So you see like this big Boeing line here that the models are showing. This is what I'm concerned about. Because, with these, hold on, I could draw that a little better. With these lines here, there is usually a lot of damaging wind gusts. In this case, I'd say potentially even up to 70 miles an hour could be possible. So we'll have to look out there for that. I mean, that's going to slam southern Florida and all the Keys as well. And also, what can happen in these MCSs is basically we can get some embedded rotation. We can get some embedded tornadoes that can occur inside of this line here, this little MCS type of thing here. So obviously that right there could be a bit of an issue, which, obviously over the water, there could be a big water spout concern like I was mentioning here as well. So that is, just something to obviously take very seriously here. They'll be crossing through Naples, Marco Island, probably around 9 a.m. or so. Key West between 10 and 11 a.m. Let's see here. Portions out there by Fort Lauderdale, Miami, probably around 11 to 12. So 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Overall. So that is right around the timing for this. Like I said, the event it's happening pretty early overall, like I was saying. It's going to be a relatively early event. But all of the places up here in the north, I mean, you can see as we approach into the afternoon, there very well could still be a bit of storm activity all throughout northern Florida, which, a couple of them, more specifically on the eastern side, could be maybe severe. So we'll have to just monitor that as we progress down in time here. And of course, all this should be out, all the precipitation for the most part, all the storms should be out by basically early evening for the most part, like we mentioned. And, like I said, later on that night, there could be a bit more rain to roll into portions like southern Florida, but more than likely it'll just be a bunch of rain showers. I mean, maybe a few thunder showers, but at that point, none of these storms would be severe. So that's good news. So that's just really all we got to look out there for. Like I said, I'm mostly concerned about this MCS here in southern Florida. So we'll have to definitely look at that. Anyways, let's move on to damaging winds now. So we do have ourselves really the entire risk area is in the threat for damaging winds. Now, we only have a 5% chance of seeing damaging winds every 25 miles. So basically the way that works is that every 25 miles that makes up this whole risk area, there's a 5% chance that damaging winds could occur somewhere in that box. So obviously, the range of the winds I would say is possible here for tomorrow is probably going to be around the range of 60, like I said, at most 70 mile per hour wind gusts, I think could theoretically be a possibility. Now, obviously, I would not be surprised, and this is my personal opinion, I would not be surprised if they added a small 15% risk down there towards southern Florida. Considering that MCS, they're probably just waiting for more of a clarity. They're probably waiting for more confidence before they do that. But I think personally, there's a pretty good chance that they might actually introduce a 15% risk for damaging winds down there towards southern Florida. As like I said, typical MCSs, these big Boeing segments of really strong thunderstorms, as they definitely can produce some damaging winds overall. But yeah, so the damaging wind threat goes all the way up there towards Jacksonville. Like I said, really just the entire marginal and slight risk area. So, all of the main regions here is included, with the damaging wind probability equaling 5%. Now, hail, on the other hand, believe it or not, there actually is a little bit of hail, but that's not going to be in the south. That's more for the north here, out there towards central Florida, northern Florida. Now, this does include places out there near like Tampa. This does include portions out there like Orlando, obviously Jacksonville region, Gainesville, Lake City. I mean, you can see Daytona Beach. A lot of regions here you guys can see in the brown. Now, this is also a 5% chance of seeing hail. Now, hail size, what it could get up to for tomorrow, is probably going to be in the realm of right around a quarter size, maybe slightly larger in some rare cases. So I'd say at absolute most, maybe 1 to 1.5 inches in diameter could be a possibility here for tomorrow. Nothing too crazy overall, but that is definitely something to look out there for. So like I said, y'all, I mean, we do have a triple threat here tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get the radar out of here for a minute, at least backtrack for where the storms aren't in Florida. So like I said, tomorrow's threat, we'll go over it real quickly. Got a slight risk down in southern Florida. We got northern, central Florida. They're in the marginal level 1 threat. Tornado probability, we have a 5% chance down there in the southern side of Florida. Central northern side, into 2% chance. Damaging winds, 5% chance throughout the risk area in general. And of course, hail, more specifically for the central northern side out there, 5% chance as well. So that's the overall risk as of right now, my friends. Now, if you're wondering today's risk, they actually canceled that marginal risk of severe weather in southern Louisiana. There's no risk for severe weather today, although it's possible we could have a couple of booms of thunder across this light green color here overall. Day 3 here, got another thunderstorm risk out there. Not a severe thunderstorm risk, thankfully, for day 3 across central southern Florida. But yeah, obviously tomorrow, that's the day we need to be weather aware across Florida. Let's see here. I'm south of Jacksonville. I'm in Middleburg, Florida. Gotcha. So you're down south of Jacksonville somewhere. Don't know really where Middleburg is, but I can tell you, since you're south of Jacksonville, yeah, you are in the threat. I mean, Jacksonville itself is in the threat overall. Let's see. I'm a little north of the straight line. Let's see. Should we be concerned? So I would keep an eye out there for it. I definitely would keep an eye out there for it. North of that line we were talking about there, that's where you have the level 1 threat. That's where the level 1 threat begins, is north of that MCS, or that potential, I should say, MCS here overall. So obviously, yeah, no, if you're in Florida for the most part, I mean, if you're basically just south of Live Oak, south of Perry, Jacksonville and south, I mean, obviously, yeah, I would be weather aware. Like I said, this event's going to be happening pretty early overall. But yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't freak out about it. I mean, obviously, there's no reason to panic or anything like that over it. No reason for any of that. But just be weather aware. Like I said, just make sure that you keep an eye on the warnings as this storm front rolls through, and just take it by ear. I mean, obviously, if you get a warning, then take action with it. But if you don't, then there you go. Then you're good. But yeah, let's see. I'm in Orlando, says Ohio Farmer. Gotcha. Yeah, Orlando's in a level 1 threat for tomorrow. So, possibility, like I said, not a big probability for tornadoes, but there is a threat within the region for maybe an isolated tornado or two. Let's see. What's up, Pete? Hope you're doing good, man. What's up, Scott? Hope you're doing good. What's up, Jakey? Let's see here. Let me go up in the comments here just a tad. What's up, Kimberly? Hope you're doing good. Oh, are you into temper? Okay, we're good. Okay. Ohio Farmer says, I'm scared. I wouldn't be scared. Like I said, obviously, this is nothing to freak out over. I mean, it's something to, pay attention to. It's obviously something not to ignore. But, it's nothing to freak out over. I mean, there's no reason to panic. I mean, more than likely, you're going to be absolutely fine, and you probably won't even get anything crazy out of it, more than likely. But there is that ever so slim chance where maybe an isolated, severe weather event could happen nearby. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, just don't be scared. It's going to be all right. Let's see. Boca Raton. How do you say that? I always never could say that right. Let's see here. But anyways, so yeah, we will do zip codes here in a minute, guys. Real quickly, I do want to hop over here to the models real quick. So like I said, yeah, since this is a forecast live stream, we will be going over zip codes here today. But let me go ahead and dive into models real fast. Tough to choice. I'm going to go wrap this time for now. I mean, obviously it's good to look at every model, but, just for a quick little demonstration, and we'll pull up the wrap model here. So first thing I look at is instability, and wow. Okay, that's a lot of energy. So we're really looking for anything over 1,000 here. I mean, 500 plus can cause severe weather, but really 1,000 plus is what we're looking for in terms of instability. And that's measured in CAPE. You see that little value at the top here. We're well over 1,000. So there's a lot of juice. There's a lot of thunderstorm fuel here for tomorrow. In which, yeah, that's actually a little concerning. That is a lot of instability. I mean, for this time of the year anyways, we're talking like nearly 2,000 joules per kilogram. Or mostly between like, 1,500 to 1,750. I mean, we're in some pretty good sides of instability here. So that's our fuel for thunderstorms. The next important thing is the lower level jet stream for looking at tornado probability. It looks like, I mean, obviously the lower level jet's really not anything too strong. So I really wouldn't quite say any violent tornadoes would occur. I don't think so. I think they'll, mostly be weaker tornadoes if they did occur. I don't think there'll be anything too crazy. Obviously, the lower level jet does amplify, so the lower level winds, about 4,000 feet up, does amplify towards the panhandle, which, out there, like I said, though, we don't have a severe weather threat overall. Because we do have ourselves a bit of a trough, a little bit of a shortwave trough here. It's actually the same system that impacted Texas yesterday, in which, obviously, yeah, we can see that little dip in the jet stream right here, which that is, the main engine, I'd call it, for severe weather. But yeah, so definitely is a very interesting system. It's for sure really an interesting system overall. Let's see here. So when it comes to it, so the instability starts building in here around 17 Zulu, it looks like, according to this model. I mean, maybe a little bit earlier, but it doesn't really start coming into effect until then. Which, for a short window, for a really small window, there is a 30-knot lower-level jet down there, which, typically you want that a little stronger for, like, more of a widespread tornado threat, more stronger tornadoes as well. But 30 knots can drop a tornado. I mean, I've seen it happen. I've seen yesterday, for example, that tornado that happened up there in Texas, the lower-level winds were around 25 knots, and still dropped a tornado. 2 of them, actually. From that one storm. Definitely pretty interesting. But anyway, so yeah, that is enough. That could cause a bit of tornadic activity. Dew points, obviously, moisture levels. I mean, we measure these 60s plus is what you're looking for severe weather potential. And I tell you what, Florida's always been a humid state, man. I mean, we're already seeing those dew points, man, up in the 65 plus. I mean, even up there, maybe near 70 in southern Florida, out there where that MCS potentially could roll through. So definitely is looking a little bit interesting, regarding to that. So moisture's there, instability or fuel for storms is there, and our winds there is also as well. Our mid-level winds here for tomorrow. So basically the winds. Let's see here. So basically the winds here overall. Hold on a minute. Let's see what's they. Oh, hold on a minute, you guys. Yeah, this is for late Sunday, according to RAP. I mean, let's see, 22 Zulu. That's kind of. See, ever since the time change, it's got my whole perception on Zulu time mixed up with all the flops and stuff. But I believe that's right around like afternoon, right around early afternoon, I'm pretty sure. So, no, that lines up. But yeah, the winds are there. The winds really don't start strengthening over, Florida, because we get a big jet that rolls over Florida here for the morning or late tomorrow. So the mid-level winds is not that strong whenever the storms happen. So storm movement, I mean, I wouldn't say it's going to be slow. I'd say it's probably going to be right around, normal speeds for thunderstorms. What's up, Tabletop? Let's see. I expect there won't be severe weather. No, you're good, man. Severe weather line goes only as far north as northern Florida. It doesn't go much further north than Jacksonville, Florida. So it's mostly like I said, it's basically just mostly south of that. I mean, there's not even any instability that works its way up there towards you in southern North Carolina. As you can see, it's all stable air mass. Let's see. My cousin lives in Texas, and he had tornado sirens going off, and he actually saw one, but he's in Oklahoma. Wait. Oh, he's okay. Dude, anytime I see okay in all caps, I think of the abbreviation for Oklahoma. Okay, that's pretty funny. But I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he's okay. Yeah, we did have 2 tornadoes yesterday. I think it was officially confirmed 2 tornadoes. We saw them both. I mean, we were there yesterday for 5+ hours streaming yesterday's event. So can I check on Naples, Florida? Of course. So yeah, we'll get into zip codes here, guys. I know a lot of you guys are curious about what your local region has in store for. So, you know, I'm here for you guys, and obviously the main channel, or the main point of this channel, is to help keep y'all prepared. So we'll do a couple of those. So Naples area, obviously you're near the 5% tornado threat, but you got a 2% chance for tornadoes. You're overall in the level 1 out of 5 severe weather threat, which the highest level for tomorrow is a level 2. Which is just slightly south of you, so tornadoes, 2% chance out there, which is low probability. I mean, 2% tornado threat is very low. The whole 2% chance is basically saying a couple tornadoes are possible. And specifically for Naples, getting it is very unlikely. Damaging winds, 5% chance, which is also on the lower side. You've seen some damaging wind gusts, like I said, mostly going to be like 60 miles per hour. You know, if they do get up to damaging criteria, they'll mostly range around 60 miles per hour in terms of wind gusts. Not sustained winds. These are gusts, what the winds could peak at. Hail on the other side. There is a hail threat for Florida, like I said, but for Naples, there's not. The hail threat tomorrow mostly remains in central and northern sides of Florida. So obviously, whenever it comes to it here, the threat overall for hail is more north of you. Let's see here. Texas got tornadoes yesterday in the 2%. Yeah. It was a large 2% yesterday that we covered. Let's see. What about Orlando by Clearwater? Because, well, Clearwater and Orlando are pretty far away from each other. I mean, Clearwater is all the way over here. That's like Tampa. Orlando's all the way up here. So there's 2 different areas here. Maybe there's a Clearwater, Orlando I don't know about. But anyways, we'll just do Orlando in general, okay? Because it's the same for all of Orlando. So you're in the level 1 threat as well. Like I said, it maxes up to a level 2 threat for tomorrow. Tornado probability for Orlando is a 2%. Like I said, the 2% tornado threat is a very low odd. I mean, it's really not anything you should freak out about. I mean, it is possible, theoretically, that a tornado could happen across the entire green area, but specifically for Orlando is very unlikely, okay? But, you know, the ingredients do line up for potential tornadic conditions across some of Orlando, but it's nothing to freak out over. Damaging winds, like I was saying, 5% chance, nothing really too crazy either, kind of on the lower side of things. You know, some of these wind gusts possibly could get up to maybe like 60 mile per hour winds. You know, once again, these are gusts overall. And, of course, hail, you're actually included in tomorrow's hail threat. Now, hail will likely remain pretty small. It shouldn't be any larger than 2 inches in diameter. It should be under 2 inches in diameter. I'd say an absolute worst-case scenario, we'll see hail possibly up to 1.5 inches or basically right around ping pong ball size hail. I think that's about the largest hail that's theoretically possible in this type of event. But yeah, we'll mostly range. I mean, if hail did occur, it will mostly be right around quarter size hail or 1 inch in diameter. So it wouldn't be anything too crazy. And I mean, like I said, even then, it's a 5% chance within 25 miles of you. So the odds, you know, of you specifically getting some large hail is, you know, still really low. I mean, the overall severe weather concern for Orlando is not the greatest. I mean, it is a level 1 threat after all, but it is a risk for severe weather, which means, you know, there is, you know, potential property damage at play here. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Let's see here. Okay. See if I got any. Like I said, we'll do some zip codes for you guys here, if y'all want me to do some of those. Let's see. going fishing in the Florida Keys. Anything going on over there? So Miguel, my friend, like I said, we are watching out for the Keys because there is what we call a MCS, which is basically a big clump of a thunderstorm. As you can see here, right around tomorrow morning, this is right around 10 a.m. For Florida. You can see the southern side has a yellow, which is a level 2 threat. There's a scale from 1 to 5. The highest threat tomorrow is a level 2, and you're in the level 2. So you're in the biggest threat here for tomorrow, in which you can see this big Boeing-like storm will come through right around like 10 a.m. according to HRRR. And you can actually see here how it just cuts straight through the Keys. I mean, all the Keys will feel this. Especially being out in the water, that's a little bit of a concern to me because I was saying that, water spouts too could be possible. If you can, don't go out in the water. I mean, I wouldn't be out first thing in the morning. I would definitely not be out in the water first thing in the morning. What I would do is I would be out, if you're going to go fishing tomorrow, the best time would be probably late afternoon, early evening, okay? Just keep that in mind, my friend, because like I said, we are going to have the potential up there for maybe a couple tornadoes. I mean, the tornado probability is highest in southern Florida by the Keys, also like Miami and Fort Lauderdale areas. So obviously keep it out there for that whenever it comes to it, whenever you go fishing tomorrow. So, and also damaging winds on it too is probably going to be the greatest on that line. Like I said, personally, I think they might upgrade the southern Florida risk area to 15% chance for damaging winds, not for not the categorical risk. I'm not trying to confuse you guys. Just the wind threat from a 5 to a 15% chance in southern Florida could be possible, which is just an increased probability of seeing damaging winds. So hopefully that helped out, man. But like I said, yeah, be careful out there. Once again, I would not recommend being out there early morning because that's when everything's going to go pretty sour. Okay, let's see here. First of all, okay, we'll take a look here at American Dreamer. Once we take a look here at 33710. Got you, my friend. Let's go ahead and bring, I forgot I can't pull up the, if I have that stupid panel open, I can't look up zip codes. 33710. Got you, my friend. So you're in St. Pete. Got you. There by Tampa area. Okay, so obviously the good news is we're not in the greatest threat for severe weather, but there is still a level 1 threat here. So obviously St. Petersburg, we have ourselves what we call a marginal risk, or a level 1 out of 5 severe weather threat. So it's the lowest end of the scale for severe weather, but in this case, all hazards are possible. So like I mentioned before, there is a very, very small chance that a couple of tornadoes could occur out in some of those regions there. It is a possibility, but a very low chance. Is it something to worry about? Honestly, probably not. But it's also, with that being said, though, it's also something you should not ignore. I mean, obviously, if there's a warning that gets issued for you, say, say a worst case scenario does happen, where you get tornadic cell moving towards you, obviously be aware to take action if you need to. But obviously, it's nothing to stress over. I mean, it's a 2% chance, very low odds. I mean, honestly, the odds aren't even that high for the whole area receiving a tornado up there in the green. Obviously, across the green, I mean, there is a possibility for a couple tornadoes, across the green area. But, for you specifically, the odds are very low, very, very low. So that's that. Whenever it comes to damaging winds, we got a 5% chance out there. So like I said, wind gusts is what we're measuring here. Wind gusts could get up to 60 miles per hour whenever it comes to, straight thunderstorm. But obviously, this is Florida. I mean, when do they not see winds? I mean, I'm sure you're probably used to stronger winds out here. But yeah, just a small damaging wind threat, which, it's considered damaging. It's a 58 miles per hour or more is considered damaging, in which 60 mile per hour wind gusts could happen, but a 5% chance. Even then, the odds are pretty low. Hail on the other side, you're right on the southern edge of a small hail threat. So there is a small chance. This is mostly for like northern and central Florida, not southern Florida, by the way, to where we possibly could be seeing maybe a bit of hail. Maybe up to quarter size, potentially. I think that's absolute max. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's definitely not going to get any larger than 2 inches in diameter, I can tell you that. I think worst case scenario, like I was explaining a minute ago, it's probably going to range between quarter size hail and maybe as far up to as maybe ping pong ball size hail. That's an absolute max. I mean, even then, I don't even think that's really going to be a problem. Let's see here. Michelle says, can I check on, let's see here, 34436. Gotcha. Yeah, of course I can do that for you, my friend. Honestly, if I accidentally skip over your zip code, don't take it harsh. I'm just keeping up with the chat as well. So, can I check a look here at 34436? All right, see here, 34436. Gotcha. Okay, so you, my friend, same thing applies for you. I mean, you're in the marginal zone. 2% chance for tornadoes. Like I said, very low odds. I mean, it's nothing to stress over for sure. I mean, it's a very low probability. So a few tornadoes across central and northern Florida is possible, but you specifically getting it's very low. So yeah, 2% chance for tornadoes there. Damaging winds, 5% chance, which is also on the lowest side of damaging winds. And even then, we'll get them up to, at most, probably around 60 mile per hour wind gusts out of some storms. Theoretically could happen, but pretty low odds still. And hail, 5% chance, which could possibly get up to, quarter size, I think, if it did occur. So really not anything too crazy going on for that region. I mean, like I said, it's a really minimal severe weather threat. I mean, it's nothing to freak out over, but the odds obviously aren't in your favor for anything spectacular, but there is a slim chance that some severe weather could happen out there by you tomorrow morning. Yeah, like I said, this is mostly a morning event, believe it or not, guys. Here, we're going to go over this real quickly once again. So like I said, the event is just a big wall of thunderstorms that's going to be rolling its way from the west here, coming in pretty early, pretty rise and shine early here. So we're talking right around like 8 a.m. or so is whenever things are going to start becoming stormy out there in western Florida. The biggest part of the event is going to be happening, like I said, in southern Florida with a potential MCS, or just a big Boeing segment of storms to roll by the Keys. Also southern Florida, potentially by like Fort Lauderdale and Miami areas. This is the area I'm mostly concerned about there. Like I said, this is definitely something that I'm mostly concerned about, is the southern edge of Florida here. But yeah, with the damaging winds and stuff like that, that's going to be really popping off between like probably 10 and maybe around noon, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's whenever I'm going to be seeing the heaviest activity down there in southern Florida, which is the greatest threat overall. So that's the timing. Like I said, it's a relatively early event. Most of it should clear up by afternoon for most of central southern Florida. But around this time, you can see the time up here, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, there is a possibility that we could still have a bit of thunderstorm activity, maybe a bit of severe weather activity also occurring here. So we'll have to, continue to watch this. I mean, maybe a couple of stray severe thunderstorms are possible, across some of those regions. But I think most of the severe threat's going to be relatively early. Then as we approach the late evening, I mean, most of Florida will be clear at this point. But then as we approach early morning of the 5th, a bit more rain, maybe a few thunder showers, maybe a little bit more thunderstorm activity in southern Florida could occur for really early on the 5th. I mean, we're talking like before sunrise. Could be a possibility. But the most of the threat is going to be for tomorrow morning, not the morning of the 5th. So both mornings could be waking up to some thunderstorm activity. So that's a possibility. Let's see here. If you're in a threat today, have a no weather radio, 100%. That is very true. Yes, if you don't have a weather radio, I would recommend, saving up and buying one, because, you never know. You never know. Essentially, if you're going to need one. Obviously, it's good to have in case if there's a severe weather event happening towards you. That's obviously really good to have. So actually, I have 2 of them. I have more than 2 of them, but I have 2 right here. You can see more right there. Actually, you guys can see. It's good to have them because if a warning gets issued, it'll scream at you and say, "Hey, there's a warning." So obviously, they're good to have in case of you're included in a warning. So I would recommend eventually, if you don't have one already, go and get one soon. It doesn't have to be today, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, but just to have if any big severe weather event happened, it would be a really good thing to own overall. Because they do save countless lives. By warning people early enough. Let's see here. Okay. Moving on now. Joyce says, "Can I check on 33141?" Of course I can do that. 33141. 4-1. Gotcha. Miami Beach. Okay, so this area down south, yeah, like I was saying, Miami's actually in the biggest threat for tomorrow. Whenever it comes to it, we actually not just have a level 1, but we have a level 2 for severe weather, which is tomorrow's greatest, concern. So when it comes to it, you do have a 5% chance for tornadoes. So the odds of having tornadoes is a little higher in southern Florida. But honestly, we're still in the zone where I wouldn't obviously freak out over it. I mean, it's nothing to panic over, obviously. But it is, something to watch out for. So tomorrow, what I want you to do is just keep an eye on the weather. I mean, obviously, if, there's a tornado warning or something like that, like I said, take action. Take immediate action. But whenever it comes to it here, like I said, the odds, of you specifically still getting a tornado is still actually pretty low. Across the Brown area, which is the greatest tornado probability, I mean, there's a possibility we could see maybe a couple tornadoes across here as well. Which, yeah, like I said, the greatest probability for tornadoes is in southern Florida, out there by Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and the Keys. So 5% chance of a tornado happening within 25 miles of you. Damaging winds, 5% chance as well. Possibly seeing some damaging wind gusts up to 60 mile per hour. Could be a possibility. Like I said, these are wind gusts. What they could peak at in the storms could be up to 60. I'd say worst case scenario, maybe up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts as well. Out of some of that Boeing segment we're looking out there, that could be a problem. Because usually these MCS type of systems, these big Boeing storms here, usually they can up in terms of winds. So yeah, right now it's a 5% chance, possibly up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Hail on the other side, could possibly be essentially, could be essentially, or really is nothing for you, but it could be a possibility up there towards central and northern Florida as we were talking about. But for specifically for Miami area, yeah, there's no hail. So your main problems, just look out there for some tornadoes. Possibility of an isolated tornado or two could be possible nearby. And damaging winds, like I said, is really the only thing you need to look out there for, my friend. So, anyways, let's see. Pop L wants me to take a look here at 33930. Okay, let's see here. Let me go ahead and hide that real quickly. 33930, cross portions here of Florida. Gotcha. Okay, so you, my friend, are on the southern side, east of Fort Myers. Whenever it comes to your threat, my friend, I mean, obviously, yeah, this is a risk area, somewhere I would definitely keep an eye out there for. But you're in the level 1 threat. And you could be caught up in the northern side of that Boeing storm potentially. Like I said, there's that big MCS type of system here. You could be caught up on the northern extent, which, I mean, from what I've seen, like I said, I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that, but usually in the northern side of the Boeing segment of these storms, sometimes a couple spin-up tornadoes could occur, which is why, I mean, you're obviously in a 2% tornado threat, which is not the greatest for tomorrow, so it's, nothing I'd freak out over. It's nothing to panic over. The odds are still very, very low of you getting a tornado. I mean, it's like I said, it's a very unlikely thing you'll get a tornado tomorrow. But, the environment remains potentially tornadic producing within the area. Damaging winds is honestly, I think, your main problem. Damaging wind gusts, possibly up to 60 miles per hour. I'd say 70 worst case scenario. Wind gusts, what they're peaking to in the storms. And hail, of course, no hail threat for you guys down south. It's mostly for the central and northern side of Florida. But like I said, I mean, even with the biggest threat being winds, I mean, you guys are used to winds down here. I mean, we're used to winds over here because obviously we get hurricanes all the time. This is making it look like nothing. But even then, I mean, like I said, it still is potential damaging winds, which it could cause problem to property and stuff like that, which I'm not saying you shouldn't really care for the winds. I mean, it's something to obviously look out for, but I'm just saying that you guys have probably seen worse before. So that's good news at least. So you know kind of what to expect. Joyce says, thanks, no problem, anytime. You're very welcome, my friend. But hopefully that helped out for you guys. So I hope you'll cover the potentially devastating windstorm in California tomorrow. Or with that cyclone that's going to be rolling through. Depends on what time. It depends on if I'm available or not for tomorrow. But I might be able to. Let's see, we'll load up the wind gust for you guys. Let's go ahead and load that up and see what we're talking about. Yeah, there's a really strong low you can see right there. 984 millibars potentially. That's going to be hitting across some of those regions. Yeah, really. Oh, wow. Look at that thing. Really slamming the west here. 50 knots. Oh, this is going to be happening right around the same time as the Florida storm, actually. Holy cow. Yeah, dude, that's like sustained of like 60 knots. So that's like, what, like almost sustained of like nearly 65, 70 miles an hour. That's crazy. Yeah, we might have to cover that, actually. I mean, because look at that. That's almost like a hurricane type of event here. I mean, it's not a hurricane, obviously, but, strong low, eastern side. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if they issue a small tornado threat across Western California, just considering the fact that we get what we call cyclone-induced tornadoes, which is basically due to strong winds out there. Since we have, really strong ripping winds on the eastern side, it's bringing up a lot of warm air and moisture. Also, a lot of wind shear to organize potential tornadic activity. A lot of horizontal vortices inside of the atmosphere here, which, a single push from an updraft could allow it to drop on the ground. Let me see. I don't think there's a risk out there. Let me see. We're going to go to, first of all, remove my pen. I don't think that there is a 2% zone out here. I haven't checked anyways. I mean, I can't really tell. Let's see. Is that a marginal risk I see there? Yep, there's a marginal. Okay, so they do have a 2% chance. Yeah, honestly, not surprising. I had a feeling they probably would do that because of cyclone-induced probabilities. So, yeah, no, it makes sense. It does make sense. Okay, I'm going to try to be live for this. Obviously no guarantees. It really depends on if I'm available at the time. But I will try to hop on for you guys to cover this. I mean, it's definitely a unique storm for sure. So that low pressure system, I mean, that's like equivalent of like a Cat 1 hurricane. That low of a pressure, 982 millibars, that's right around Cat 1 strength. I mean, that's, like I said, there's a lot of similarities between this event and a hurricane, actually. So that's going to be something we need to really look out there for. But like I said, it's not a hurricane. It's not a hurricane. I will say that. Anyways, but yeah, back over here to Florida. We're going to go and hop over back to the reflectivity, back to where we were here on the future radar. Let's see here. Thanks. That's awesome. Very rare for West Coast. It is very rare, actually. That's a pretty crazy storm. Let's see. Brooklyn says, can I look at 74008? Gotcha. Let's start off the 4. Good job, Andrew. 74008. Across Oklahoma. Okay. So obviously you guys, I mean, did y'all hear about the earthquake that happened out there? We apparently got an earthquake up there in Oklahoma City, I believe it was. A lot of Oklahoma and even portions of Texas felt it. Wouldn't be surprised if even like Kansas felt it as well. From what Aiden says, one of my mods, he says it was caused by people digging for oil and natural gas, and they did it right on a fault line. Like I said, I don't know if that's true. That's what one of my mods said. Aiden, he said that they were digging for oil and natural gas on the fault line towards Oklahoma, and it sparked it. I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm not too for sure on that, but. Anyways, but weather-wise, I mean, we're not seeing anything too crazy. Just a bit of rainfall. I mean, that's really about it. That's interesting, showing a line there just east. But yeah, for Tulsa, yeah, probably just some heavy rain. That's probably about it. It shows kind of a little line of storms, maybe some thunder showers rolling through. I don't even know if there'll be even thunder on this or not. But this is right around the evening for today, actually, which is really interesting. So look out there for a couple thunderstorms. Actually, now that I think about it, there is a thunderstorm risk out here, but it's not severe. So, let's see. Yeah, 5.1. Yeah, people said it was a 5 or 5.4, but it was wrong. It was actually a 5.1. They corrected it. Let's see here. Yeah, no, this is definitely not a tropical system. I want to make that clear. They have some similarities, but they're not the same. They're formed completely differently. Ohio Farmer wants me to take a look here. We already did your zip code, man. We already looked at Ohio, or sorry, not Ohio. I went off your name. We already looked at Orlando and that place down in South that we looked out there for you. So, if you want to go back to your play, or if you want to go back to your zip code that we already did a little bit ago, just rewind. Let's see here. Also, I just now thought about it. There could be some aftershocks happening out there by Oklahoma. Ohio, we already did your zip code. We already did 2 of your zip codes, actually. So give other people a chance. If anybody has any zip codes, like I said, feel free to let me know. Obviously, I want to be here for you guys to help out with the event. Like I said, once again, this is going to be a relatively early event for you guys. I mean, this is going to be relatively happening quite early for a lot of us. I mean, even I'm in the risk, actually. I'm out there by Lakeland area. So I'm in the level 1 threat, so I'm going to have to watch out tomorrow morning. Knowing me, I'll just probably sit outside on my porch and just just look at storm. I would not recommend you guys doing that. Seriously, I'd heavily advise against it, but I'm just an idiot, so. Let's see here. 58% chance of 0 to 60 week aftershocks. 58% what? 58% from 0 to 60. That's like saying, hey, you're going to get anywhere from 0 to 100 inches of snow. Oh, man. And there's a 58% of that. That's the way I see it anyways. All right, let's see here. Robin. Let's see here. Robin wants me to take a look here at 44601. Gotcha. Let's see here. First of all, let me remove this. We'll add up the day 2 outlook for tomorrow. Anyways, 44601. 4601 across Ohio. Yeah, Ohio obviously is not included with the severe weather here. That's, kind of our main focus here, but, Ohio, really nothing too crazy going on out there. Honestly, I believe we're going to be in a zone of high pressure for a while. I mean, you can see it for at least the next 48 hours. We're not expecting any form of precipitation nearby. So there's nothing really like I said, there's really nothing to, freak out about. I mean, there's nothing going on out there, really. Let's see here. Railfan 343. Gotcha. 343. Got it. Georgia. Okay, so yeah, Georgia. Obviously, the storms are going to be to your south. We're really not expecting any severe weather anywhere near this region. I mean, shoot, even like Georgia in general is not even in any of the severe weather threat, except if you include the little dip that's down here. So even any towns, Clarking, St. George, and Boggy is in a level 1 threat. So, like I said, it cuts off relatively just north of Jacksonville, the severe weather threat. Obviously, you're out there by Atlanta, which is not included in the severe weather zone overall. But anyways, so that's what's going on. Nothing severe at all. Whenever it comes to like the instability, the fuel for these thunderstorms and stuff like that, we'll go and bring up some of that instability here for you. Which I don't even think the energy for thunderstorms even reaches its way towards Atlanta. I'm pretty sure it remains mostly south. Yeah, there you go. It looks like very toxic on my screen, like almost looks like a radioactive ooze kind of color. Anyways, but yeah, so look up in Atlanta. This is the thunderstorm juice, or like the thunderstorm fuel, as I call it. The energy for thunderstorms. You can see how this big bright area over Florida showing the instability. Meanwhile, Atlanta, there's nothing. There's really nothing. So yeah, like I said, you're good, my friend. There's nothing to really worry about overall. When it comes to like the reflectivity and precipitation and all that stuff, let's see here. We'll go ahead and pull this back up here. There we go. Whenever it comes to that, I mean, we're gonna see a bit of rainfall popping through. Probably like late afternoon, early evening tomorrow. And honestly, there could be a potential of some heavy rainfall out in some of those regions there. I mean, we could be breaking some moderate heavy rainfall precipitation out in those regions there. It could be a pretty heavy around the late evening overall. Let's see. Robin says, thank you, no problem. Let's see here. Steel City Gal wants me to take a look here at Pinellas County. I think I can look up counties. I usually go by zip codes because they're so much easier for me. Let's see. Because like if I look up the county, I mean it pulls up a bunch of different options. I guess the courthouse is what we're gonna go off of. Is this out there by Clearwater? Okay, I guess we're gonna go off of this. Like I said, zip codes would bring me directly there. I'm more confident on those areas. Anyways, but yeah, you do have a small threat tomorrow morning for severe weather. So we'll keep it out there for it. Like I said, there's a scale that goes from 1 to 5, 5 being the worst case scenario, 1 being kind of like the low end severe weather potential. But whatever risk you're in, it's still a damaging risk for storms. So, I mean, any risk you're in should take seriously. When it comes to tornado probability, there is a 2% chance for tornadoes. But honestly, like I said, the 2% zone, I mean, honestly, we're talking the potential for a few tornadoes across the green area in general. So specifically for you getting a tornado, and obviously is way low. So the odds are very, very low for that happening. So honestly, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, obviously, if a tornado warning gets issued for you, then take action. But, you know, this is nothing to full on prepare for. It's not a tornado outbreak. It's not a big tornado event, really. Just a small thing. I mean, like I said, the threat does increase in southern Florida, which obviously at there I'd be a little more cautious about tornadoes. But for you, honestly, I'm really not too worried about tornadic activity, even knowing you're in a level 1, which is a very low tornado threat. When it comes to damaging winds, 5% chance, also low, but some storms could contain some damaging wind gusts, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. And in terms of hail, you're right on the line there for the possibility of maybe some small hail up to quarter size could happen. Okay, so that's kind of what we got going on there. But hopefully that was your area, my friend. Like I said, hopefully that helped you out there and, you know, gave you a little more of the word of what we could see. Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in here and, you know, for you specifically, this is going to be an early event. This is going to be a pretty early event here, you know, happening relatively early. Like I said, the greatest threat for severe weather is in southern Florida, where we have a level 2 threat overall. And when it comes to it, we're watching out for the potential of what we call an MCS, or just a really big cluster of thunderstorms, to be kicking off across southern Florida, which could have the capability of producing some damaging winds and maybe a couple of isolated tornadoes down there towards that line. So we'll continue watching that. That's where the greatest threat is overall. But like I said, you can see the timing up here. This is right around 10 a.m. So this is relatively early. The main event will be done by, you know, basically afternoon, or early, kind of like maybe around 1 or 2. Most of the event should be over. But even in the afternoon, there's still a possibility that a couple of thunderstorms could occur up there towards northern Florida overall before really exiting by the late evening, right around sunset. All right, let's see here. Pensacola. So Pensacola is actually, luckily, not in any form of risk. We do have what we call a general thunder risk, or basically just simply a thunderstorm risk with no severe potential. That's basically what you're in. So we're not expecting any severe weather to occur. There is a possibility for a couple of thunderstorms happening actually late this evening, early tomorrow morning, and, you know, maybe a couple of scattered thunderstorms throughout tomorrow. As you can see, a couple of, you know, scattered storms could be happening through the evening, maybe a couple of ones a couple of them in the afternoon, maybe a couple in the evening overall. But yeah, once again, not anything severe, so there's nothing to worry about for you, my friend. Just look out for a couple booms here and there, and that's really all you can expect. All right, let's see here. Good night, Ohio. Good night, Ohio farmer. Have a good night. Maple, let's see here. What's going to happen in 34786? Let me go ahead and pull up the zip code here again for you. Let's see, 34786. 34786. Gotcha. Florida. You, my friend, are in a level 1 threat out there towards the Orlando region. So we have a 2% chance for tornadoes. Like I said, it's a very low odd. Absolutely nothing you need to worry or really freak out over, I should say. I wouldn't even worry about it, honestly. But like I said, just make sure you have a way to receive warnings. Because obviously if there is a tornado warning that needs to be issued for your region, you'll actually get the alert. But like I said, honestly, the odds of you getting a tornado is extremely low. Damaging winds here as well is pretty low chance. I mean, 5% chance, which, obviously a little higher than the 2% chance of tornadoes. And in the worst case scenario, if we did have a couple of these, damaging wind instances, the range will probably be getting up to right around 60 mile per hour wind gusts. That's kind of what we're talking about whenever it comes to the overall damaging winds, whenever it comes to that. And of course, hail, there's actually a small hail chance as well. We possibly could see maybe, some isolated instances of maybe some hail could be getting up to maybe quarter size. I mean, nothing really too crazy, but there is that small chance that somewhere in this brown area could see maybe some small hail. Absolute worst case scenario, honestly, I'd say probably up to ping pong ball hail. Definitely not anything, above 2 inches in diameter. But I'm thinking about 1.5 max size of hail, and if it does get severe, it'll be right around quarter size most of the time. Okay, so that's for you, Maple. So just keep it out there for that. Let's see. What about the wind gusts in Atlanta, Georgia? Is it going to be bad? Let me pull up. This program's a little glitchy sometimes. All right, let's see here. So wind gusts, 10-meter wind gusts. So it's about 30 feet, I believe. I think 10 meters is 30 foot. It's definitely going to get a little bit windy out there. I can tell you that. We'll go ahead and wait for my little model to load. You can see it's loading, almost done. But it definitely does look like it could get a little bit windy out there. There we go. So we could see those winds probably around 30 knots or so, which is about nearly 35, 40 mile an hour winds. Could be a possibility. So I mean, it's definitely gonna be windy. I'll tell you that one. Really kind of starting here for early tomorrow morning. Pretty early. It's gonna start to happen. Yeah, it could also get pretty windy across Florida as well, with that frontal push here. Look at the MCS I was talking about here. That really strong line of storms. You can see how it really can knock up some strong winds here if things do get pretty nasty. Let's see. I love how the load dances around. See, east side of Pensacola. Oh yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. See, Teresa says, thank you, appreciate you. Well, thank you, appreciate it. But like I said, guys, I mean, if y'all have any questions, feel free to hit me up here. Like I said, we'll, obviously main goal is here to prepare you guys for the severe weather and, answer any questions you might have about it. So if y'all have any zip codes or anything like that you want me to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Like I said, we're here for you. We are here for you, my friends. And obviously, if you guys are not already, please consider subscribing. I'm not going to stress it. I'm not going to force you guys to, but it would be good for you. That way you guys can be up to date with the latest weather. And obviously, maybe one day if you're in a big severe weather event across somewhere else in the country, if you're not even in Florida, we'll be covering it. Because I cover the main 48 for any type of weather. So we're here for you. What's up, some guy? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you are doing good. How many weather-related puns can you fit in one sentence? It was funny the other day. I said something about dew points that made me crack up. I forgot. Did I see my comment about the possible cold core setup or cold core event in northern Florida? Apparently on HRR and NAM 3K. Some storm relative helicity / cape and lower shear in place for some tornadic threat, in my opinion. You said cold. Let's see here. I wouldn't really call it a cold core. Are you talking about tomorrow? Well, there is already a 2% chance for tornado. I wouldn't call it a cold core, considering we have dew points in the 60s. Cold core setups usually have lower dews, so lower amounts of moisture overall. Lower level moisture, I should say. Let's see. EB says, hi, I just got here. Can I please look at, 32350 Florida, Georgia line? Thanks, no problem. Yeah, I know a lot of Georgia, I'll say, is not in the threats. There's really not a whole lot of, hold on a minute. There really is not a lot of a concern at all for portions of Georgia. Here, let me go and bring up that area, though, for you. You said 32350, 32350. Gotcha. Florida. Okay, so when it comes to it here, obviously, okay, you weren't lying when you said you're right on the line. I don't think you're in the risk here. Yeah, you're not. So you're in a thunderstorm threat, which basically just says, hey, there's a possibility for a couple rumbles of thunder, but that's about it. We're not expecting any severe weather. Just a couple booms here and there could be possible, but yeah, we're not expecting severe weather for you. That line where it becomes a severe concern is slightly to your south, basically a little south of Live Oak out by Lake City is where it starts. Obviously, a little bit north of Jacksonville is where it peaks at. I mean, you can really see where the line is. So you should be good, my friend. There's really no risk for any severe weather for you. But, just know slightly to your south there is. I mean, obviously, these outlooks are never going to be 100% accurate to say 100% of the time all the severe storms are going to stay out there. I mean, I have seen instances where a couple of severe storms do make it outside of the risk area. So, I mean, very low odds, very, very low odds of that happening. But yeah, I don't see too much of a problem for you, my friend. I think you'll be relatively fine. With that being said, though, like I said, there is a possibility we could get a couple rumbles of thunder, though. But that's normal. It's normal down here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Jared wants me to take a look here at 32609. 32609. Gotcha. Florida, Gainesville. Okay, so this area, not terribly too far from that risk area cutoff. So yeah, you're in a level 1, so which is a marginal risk here, which is a low in severe weather concern. 2% chance for tornadoes. I mean, like I said, I really do think it's going to be relatively a low threat. I mean, obviously, the chances of Gainesville specifically getting a tornado is very unlikely. We're talking the potential for a couple of tornadoes across the whole green area. And the odds of you specifically getting one, I mean, considering how small you really are compared to the state of Florida, the odds are extremely low and not in your favor. When it comes to damaging winds, 5% chance, maybe some wind gusts that could peak up to 60 miles per hour in some bad storms, theoretically is possible overall. And of course, hail, the northern side of Florida. This does not include southern Florida, but more of the central and northern side of Florida here, where we do have a small hail threat, actually. A small hail threat, potentially seeing maybe some instances of hail getting up to quarter size. Theoretically could happen, but the odds, like I said, are not very high. Okay, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Some guy, like I said, Georgia's not in a severe weather concern, really. It's mostly just like it cuts off in northern Florida. So, I can already look at Georgia and I can already tell you you're not in the threat, my friend. Okay, we'll be covering the storm to the west tonight and tomorrow. I'm going to try, like I said, I have a lot of things I got to do. Since I took a lot of time yesterday to do some coverage. I mean, I was live for like 5+ hours yesterday. And I have some things I got to do around the house before then, which obviously, right now it's getting kind of progressing into late portion of the day. I will try my hardest to be there. I mean, obviously that's the main goal is I want to be here for every event I can. So if I go live, I go live. If I don't, it's because I'm busy doing other things as much as I'd love to, guys. There's just sometimes I got to take care of myself as well. Let's see here. Can I check on 32726? Of course. 32726 across portions of Florida. Eustis. Okay, so this area, slightly northwest of Orlando. Gotcha. So you are actually in a risk. You're in a marginal right here. Level 1 threat, my friend. Tornado probability is a 2% chance. Like I said, very low odds of tornadoes. I mean, honestly, the odds of you getting a tornado is like very, very, very low. Honestly, you'd be better off winning the lottery, I personally think. When it comes to damaging winds, when it comes to the damaging wind probability here, you have a 5% chance for damaging wind gusts that could get up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, what they could peak up to. But, like I said a minute ago, Florida, I mean, this place gets battered by winds, by hurricanes, tropical systems all the time. And what 60 mile an hour winds could be. And this is not sustained like hurricanes and tropical systems are for these regions. But it's wind gusts, what they could peak up to for a few seconds, could get up to 60 miles per hour, which could theoretically become damaging overall. And of course, whenever it comes to hail, like I said, there is a really small hail threat. Also a 5% chance, very low odds of that happening. But max hail size, say if it was to occur, would be right around quarter size, which is low end hail size, which is I mean it possibly could cause some problems, but more than likely it's not going to be anything too crazy. Okay, let's see here. Curtis says, no problem, thank you. Your reports are very helpful and detailed. Well, thank you, appreciate the feedback. And I try to be as detailed and as professional as possible. I mean, obviously, I'm not the best there is, but I try to do the best I can and helping out you guys as much as possible. That's the goal here, is to keep y'all prepared and weather aware. Okay, can I look at Tampa? Yeah, we've mentioned Tampa a couple times. So Tampa, I mean, you probably weren't here, obviously, so I got you. So when it comes to it, for Tampa area, we do have ourselves a marginal level 1 threat, which obviously, like I said, it's a pretty low threat. I mean, it's really nothing to freak out over. Odds are pretty low. Tornado probability, 2% chance. Once again, like I said, you'd have a better chance winning the lottery, I think, than actually getting a tornado. Because like I said, we're talking a couple of tornadoes possible across the green area here. Now, the threat is a little bit bigger down there towards southern Florida. But for your area, obviously in the green or the marginal, 2% chance for tornadoes. The odds are very low, very, very low. Same thing for damaging winds, possibly up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but it's Tampa. I mean, they get tropical systems quite a bit, which I'm pretty sure you probably experienced over 60-mile-per-hour winds before, and this is gusts, but they could peak up to for a given few seconds. Hail on the other side. Tampa's on the southern edge of the hail threat. Like I said, it's a possibility that we could have maybe a few hail events near central and northern Florida here. So obviously, the odds are very low for that, and you're right on the southern extent. So, odds of that happening is also very, very low, I think. Honestly, your greatest concern would probably be damaging wind gusts. But even then, the odds are very low as well. Really not a great chance for severe weather for you, but there is a small threat. Okay, let's see here. Chewy says, what about, I can try to do counties, like I said, but sometimes they're not always going to come out good. Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, if we do zip codes, it's much, much easier. So I'm guessing you live up here by Live Oak area, considering that's like where it brought me for that area, for that county. Which obviously, across this region, actually, I think this is right near the cutoff point. Yeah, look at that. So you're actually just outside of the severe weather threat. So odds are you're not going to see any severe weather. I mean, that's a good thing. A couple thunderstorms, though, will likely occur. I mean, you'll probably get a few rumbles of thunder here and there, but anything severe or damaging is not really going to be expected. So I think you should be relatively fine. I really don't see too much of an issue for your area. So you should be good. Just look out for a few rumbles of thunder tomorrow, and that's about it. That's about it. But anyways, guys, well, like I said, if y'all have any questions, feel free to let us know. Once again, I'm glad to help out you guys. Glad to be here for y'all. And anytime I can, do so, obviously I'm going to be here for you. So Wellborn. Okay, so Wellborn's right here. So yeah, that applies for the same region, basically. Okay, let's see. Janice, Palm Bay, Florida, please. Okay. Palm Bay, Florida. Okay, so you're kind of southeast of Orlando. Gotcha. Okay, so for you, my friend, we do have ourselves a marginal risk. So you're in that level 1 threat as well. And honestly, the threats are pretty much the same. Very low 2% chance for tornadoes, damaging winds 5% chance, up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and hail. You're right on the edge of that hail threat, man. You're right there on the edge of it. So the odds of you getting hail is obviously very low. I mean, 5% chance within 25 miles of you. Pretty low chance of having hail. Up to quarter size, I'd say, is kind of right when we're talking about max size of hail. I'd say worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario. 1 in a million shot for you, probably 1.5 inch hail could be a maximum, which, like I said, that's a very low odd overall. When it comes to it, though, like I said, that is, that's basically what's going on here. Will this be a fast-moving system? I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it is going to be kind of moving fast, because it's going to be coming in here pretty early. Let's see, we're going to load up the time here. So you can kind of see how we're going to start to get some thunderstorms rolling in towards Tampa region, probably around like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And the whole system will be out here by pretty much kind of mid-afternoon. I mean, it's going to be a pretty quick little system here. Especially with the south being in the greatest threat with that MCS, or that really big cluster of potential damaging wind-producing storms here. The south is where I'm really concerned. South Florida, that's where I'm mostly concerned, like Key West and Miami, Fort Lauderdale areas, because this bow echo here, or this Boeing segment, I should say. I wouldn't call it bow echo quite yet because it's not been echoed, but it's a bow. So this line here, obviously this is what I'm kind of mostly concerned about in the terms of damaging winds and stuff like that. And, that'll be really starting to kick off between like 9 and 12 o'clock, 9 a.m. and 12 o'clock. So, honestly, I'd say it's kind of an average moving storm. I wouldn't say it's fast or really slow either. Call it an average moving storm. Okay, let's see. You guys are very welcome. No problem. What about Fort Lauderdale? Fort Lauderdale. Gotcha. So, yeah, Fort Lauderdale, like I was saying, is kind of in one of those areas I'm a little bit more concerned about overall. So the Fort Lauderdale area, we are basically, seeing that line that potentially could cause some damaging winds and maybe, like I said, a couple isolated tornadoes to southern Florida could be a possibility. So the odds are pretty low overall. This will be happening between like 11 and 12. So 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. is kind of right around the time frame of when we're probably going to be getting the storm. Obviously models are not perfect, like I said, but it is a possibility that, that's probably right around the time you're going to be getting impacted. So when it comes to the threat, like I said, you're actually in a 5% chance for tornadoes. Depends on exactly where you're at in Fort Lauderdale. If you're in northern Fort Lauderdale, you're kind of on that cutoff between the 2 and 5%. If you're on the southern side, about like Hollywood area, obviously at that point you're in the level 2 or the 5% chance for damaging winds. Now, damaging wind threats. We got ourselves a 5% chance for damaging winds. Honestly, I think there is, my opinion. Take this how you want to. I think there's a possibility this could be upgraded to a 15% chance, considering this MCS that's been popping up here for a little bit in southern Florida, and even obviously the Storm Prediction Centers mentioned it as well, which is just a big Boeing storm line that could cause a bit of damaging winds. I think this could go from a 5 to a 15% chance by tomorrow morning. That's my opinion. Obviously, like I said, take that how you want to, but right now it's a 5% chance, and that's what we're going to go off of as of right now. When it comes to hail on the other side here, like I said, hail is not a problem for South Florida, which is good news. This is more of an isolated concern for central and northern Florida, with a very small probability of seeing some of that activity. So that's what's going on there. Okay, what about the Panhandle? So the Panhandle of Florida is not expecting any severe weather, actually. It's mostly just like the northern main land here of Florida, excluding the Panhandle for the possibility of severe weather. Now, there will be a couple thunderstorms to occur. There will be a couple of thunderstorms to occur across Florida's Panhandle, but they're not expected to be anything damaging or severe. Let's see. MP says, what does DBZ mean? So that's basically a way of reading precipitation rates on radar, reflectivity scans. So a high DBZ would be heavy rainfall. So, for example, a low DBZ value. So light rain would be between 0, I'd say, and about 20 DBZ. From 20 to 40, I'd say is kind of moderate rainfall, and I'd say 40 plus is getting into that heavy rainfall territory. So that's kind of what DBZ is. Hopefully that helped. Okay, let's see here. Jessica, once we take a look here at, let's see, Cutler Bay, please. I got you. No problem. Let's see. Cutler Bay, Florida here. Okay, so you, my friend, are in level 2. Actually, yeah, you're in one of the regions I'm a little bit more concerned for. So you have a level 2 threat, or a slight risk. So the scale goes from 1 to 5. You're in a level 2, which is the highest threat for tomorrow. So you're in one of the areas I'm a little bit more concerned about, because you can see this big Boeing storm here. This is what we call a potential MCS we're looking at. This could be a thing we need to look out there for. And this will be rolling through probably, late morning, early afternoon. We're talking maybe between 10 and 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's kind of right around the time we're expecting this thing to roll through. My main problem, what I think is going to be the main problem for you, is damaging winds. Now, right now, they have you in a 5% chance for damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour to occur, which is a very low odd. Obviously, it's not really a big concern at all. Now, whenever it comes to it, with hail, there's no hail concern for you. up north, towards central northern Florida, there is that little threat out there I was talking about. But tornadoes, on the other hand, is actually an increased concern for southern Florida because of this little MCS here, which obviously a couple of embedded tornadoes can be possible. Now, with that being said, like I said, it's nothing for you to freak out about. It's nothing to, obviously, go out and, freak out about, really. I mean, it's definitely not something to freak out about in general. It's something you should watch, yes. I mean, obviously, tomorrow morning, just look at the weather, see what's going on, and everything like that. Okay, let's see. But hopefully that helped out, my friend. Like I said, yeah, the main concern is tornadoes following damaging winds, and like I said, hail is not a problem for you. Yeah, don't get political in the chat, y'all. That is definitely not a place to do so. Like I said, this is just weather. This has nothing to do with politics. So keep that stuff out or you will be banned. Okay. But yeah, guys, like I said, if y'all have any other questions, feel free to let me know. And like I said, we'll be here for you. Once again, guys, like I said, I don't ask for much on the channel, but if you could consider subscribing, it'd be greatly appreciated. That way you guys obviously are up to date with the weather. Like I said, I cover literally the whole 48 states with any type of weather, like winter weather, tornadoes, severe weather, I should say, and tropics, so all kinds of things. So if you all want to be up to date with that, consider subscribing. Okay, let's see here. Let's see, Love Pizza says, hi, my friend lives in Longboat, Florida. Should she leave her area? Anywhere you're... Okay, first of all, I would not leave your area no matter what risk you're in for tomorrow. So, honestly, we're just going to get that clear right off the bat. It's not like an evacuative type of event. I mean, it's not like a Cat 5 hurricane or anything like that. Honestly, no, there's no reason to leave. No reason to leave for it. But you said for Longboat... Let's see here. Longboat. Is it Longboat Key, Florida? Okay, I'm going to go off of Longboat Key. Is that it? Is it Longboat Key? I mean, south of St. Pete. Anyways, well, this area does have a really low threat for severe weather. There's a scale from 1 to 5. Like I said, we're on a level 1, which is the lowest threat, but it is still a severe weather threat, and it's something you shouldn't ignore, as I always say. There is a very small chance for a tornado to occur nearby within 25 miles, a 2% chance of that happening, which is very low odds. I mean, honestly, the chances of us getting tornadoes across Florida, we're probably going to see maybe a couple, if this event does play out the way that is forecasted, maybe a couple tornadoes throughout the entirety of the green area. And specifically for Longboat Key, obviously the odds are very, very low overall. Damaging winds, we have a 5% chance that some damaging wind gusts could occur. As these storms roll through, there's a possibility that the winds could gust up to 60 miles per hour. And of course, here with the hail threat overall, there's actually not a hail threat for you. That's slightly more to the north, but not specifically for Longboat area. So it should be fine. Like I said, obviously there's no reason to evacuate or anything like that. So you're good. Yeah, definitely not along the boundaries of anything close to evacuating or anything like that. So you're good. Anyways, what's up, Dev? Hope you're doing good, man. See, thank you. No problem. Anytime. Anytime, my friends. Okay, but like I said, y'all, if there's any other areas you want me to take a look at there before we roll off for tonight, like I said, we've actually been live a little longer than we usually have been, because obviously I want you guys to be prepared and all that stuff. So if there's any other zip codes you guys want me to take a look out there for in Florida, let me know. And if not, then we'll head off here. Like I said, just make sure it's Florida because, Florida's really the only area that's expecting severe weather tomorrow. Other than that, a really small sliver in California as we have that strong low-pressure system impacting the west. I'm going to see if I can be here for coverage for that storm system, for the one in Florida and the one in California. They're going to be happening around the same time. I mean, look at that big low-pressure system slamming California and then that big MCS hitting southern Florida. It's going to be pretty crazy. Okay, I'm not too impressed with the shear profiles. Yeah, me either, Dev. I'm not either. I was looking at those earlier in the early stream. What about Ocala? Gotcha. So Ocala, my friend, Whenever it comes to the overall risk for severe weather, we do have a risk. It's a marginal risk, a level 1 severe weather threat. The odds, like I said, are very low of actually seeing severe weather. Tornado probability, we have ourselves a 2% chance. Like I said, it's a very low percentage chance of having tornadoes. So, like I said, I'm not worried about it too much. I mean, obviously, if there's a tornado warning that gets issued for Ocala, make sure you have a way to receive that warning, which, most phones nowadays have alerts built into them if you turn them on in your settings. So look out there for that. But like I said, the odds are very, very low of that happening. Damaging winds, also pretty low threat, 5% chance within 25 miles of experiencing damaging winds that, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, possible, peaking up to 60 for a few seconds. And of course, hail, we're talking basically a 5% chance for hail. So a small chance for some hailstones to occur, possibly up to quarter size. I mean, really nothing too crazy going on. For this area, not too worried about severe weather, although there is a really minimal threat for all hazards. So it's something to look out for, but, the odds are definitely not anything to freak out about. I'm a Sky One spotter. Yeah, me too. Maybe 40 knots. Honestly, it seems It seems like the Panhandle has more shears. We've seen Dev. It seems like the wind shear is stronger out there because we have that surface low, or that trough, the shortwave, slamming most of its wind shear up in the Panhandle. But that's where the severe weather is not expected. A lot of the instability and the shear do not mix very well, and where they do the best is actually southern Florida, where we have that risk overall. Okay, what about South Beach? All right, let's see. South Beach, Florida. There we go. All right, so for you, my friend, okay, you're obviously a little bit north here of Port St. Lucie area. So I believe you're in level 1. Yep, you got a level 1 severe weather threat, which is, the lowest level of severity. Tornado probability, 2% chance. Like I said, we're watching for a couple tornadoes across the entirety of the green area. The odds of you getting it's pretty low, like I said. So no big deal, or no really big deal for tornadoes. I mean, it's a small threat. Yeah, obviously if there's a warning gets issued, then take action. But it's nothing for you to worry about, really. Winds, 5% chance, obviously. 5% chance for damaging winds occurring. Possibly getting up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And of course, hail on the other side. I mean, hail is possible across central northern side, but for you, my friend, hail is not a concern. Okay, so that's that. See, South Beach is, yeah. We already got South Beach. We're good. We are good, my friend. Flash flood warning over New Orleans. Not surprising, considering how much rain they're getting right now. They're getting slammed, dude. Here, let me hop up there real quickly so you guys can see. Yeah, that's current radar view right now. You can see New Orleans, not just New Orleans, but like Louisiana and Mississippi, starting to get a lot of heavy precipitation overall. Oh, dude, there's that line trying to develop again. Remember we were looking at the models a minute ago, or probably about like 20 minutes ago or so? And when we determined that there was a potential line that could go through Tulsa. It's not going to be severe or anything, like so it's nothing to worry about, but it looks like that's starting to come into reality now. But anyways. But all right, guys. Well, last call for zip codes, and after that, we're going to roll off here for tonight. Once again, I'm going to try to do coverage tomorrow. It's happening pretty early, so I'll see if I can be live here for you. My sleep schedule is not the best. I'm kind of in night mode again, to where I'm mostly up during the night and mostly asleep during the day. So I'm going to try my best to make it. If I do make it, I might be a little sleep deprived, but I'm going to try my hardest to. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll try to get some sleep before then. Try to get my schedule back in order by the time this happens, which got little time to do so. What time do I plan on going live tomorrow? Like I said, it depends on if I am. Obviously, tomorrow I will go live. I mean, regardless, I do plan on doing a forecast tomorrow night. If obviously I can't make it to the events, but I will try. Let's see. Can I show future radar for Jacksonville? Yeah, of course. Of course. So this is HRRR. Now, remember, this is not always accurate to what could happen. But yeah, this is what it looks like. So it does show it mostly clear as we approach early morning. A couple showers. Oh shoot, I probably should switch over. Glad I caught that, man. Holy cow. So it's pretty clear for the most part. As we approach into the early morning hours, a couple showers could build in nearby. But the main event's not going to start happening until like the early afternoon. As you can see, a bunch of scattered thunderstorms from the early afternoon through basically mid-evening before rolling out. So Haley, there's nothing severe going on for you. I already know your zip code. Consider you've been here for a while, so I already know you. Let's see here. Jay wants me to take a look here at 34230. 34230. Let's see here. Where is this? Turkey and Spain? Check your zip code, my friend. Let's see here. Farm Girl wants me to take a look here at 32668. 32668. All right, let's see. Florida. Now that's one I can go off of. Okay, so for this area out there a little northwest of Ocala, gotcha. So when it comes to the severe weather concern, you do have a small severe weather threat. It's a level 1 out of 5. Like I said, it's a very low-end severe weather concern, so it's nothing to freak out about. The odds are very low of you getting severe weather. Now, there is a very small tornado probability. It's a 2% chance, and so we're basically talking a couple tornadoes possible across the whole green area, which, you know, for specifically one to lie right over you is very, very low. So I wouldn't be too worried about that, obviously. Nothing to worry about there. But, you know, like I said, just make sure you have a way to receive warnings in case if one does magically get issued. Damaging winds, we got a 5% chance for damaging wind gusts. Could get peaking up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, which is, you know, nothing for Florida, really. Damaging winds, hail. There is a small hail threat. You know, we could see the potential of maybe up to, maybe up to quarter-size hail, but, you know, even then, it's a very low probability. So the odds of you seeing severe weather tomorrow is pretty low overall. Let's see here. At least it's not a random GDPS model. It's true. That is very true. Let's see here. That's what Google said for Sarasota. Oh. Well, if you told me we're Sarasota, I could have probably known because I know where Sarasota's at. All right, so Sarasota is in a level 1 threat as well. No hail expected, so no problem for hail. Tornadoes, 2% chance. Once again, very low odds, man. Very low odds. Damaging winds, 5% chance. You know, possibly seeing some wind gusts up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts can't be ruled out, but the odds are once again very low overall. Firm Girl says, thank you. That was great. No problem. Anytime. Anytime, y'all. But anyways, y'all, once again, last call for any zip codes. I'm going to do a couple more before I roll off here. I mean, we've been live for over an hour and a half here, so got some things I got to do around the house and all that stuff. But anyways, glad to help out you guys. And once again, if you guys could, for me, please consider subscribing. We really appreciate it. Not for me, shoot, for you guys as well. I mean, like I said, if there's any crazy weather going on, like I said, I literally cover the whole United States here. I cover winter weather, I cover severe weather, tropical weather, literally anything you can think of, I cover it. So if y'all want to be up to date with that, we are continuously posting almost every day, literally. So if you guys want to get continuously updated on the weather, this is the place to get it from. So if you guys want to subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. But anyways, well, once again, everybody, thank you for joining. Once again, I'm gonna try to be live tomorrow. I can't guarantee it. Like I said, it's gonna be happening pretty early. So you've been live over an hour, and I didn't know. I gotta put notifications on. Yeah. I mean, if you wanna be alerted, make sure you hit that bell while you're at it too. But anyways, let's see. There's a high risk for flash flooding in LA. Really? Did they upgrade to a high risk? I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Yep, there is a little high risk out there. Since they're by Santa Barbara, high risk for flooding. That's a big deal. That's a real big deal. Could be a big issue for flooding down there. Let's see. Joyce says, thank you for all you do, Andrew. Much appreciated. You're very welcome, Joyce. Appreciate the kind words. But, all right, y'all. Well, we're going to hop over here to the ending screen. Once again, thank you all for joining us. Like I said, I'm going to try to be live tomorrow to cover the events. I mean, obviously, we have two things we need to look out there for. First of all, This big dude, you can see that low pressure system off the coast, is going to strengthen and work its way towards California. And of course, all of that crazy mass here is going to work its way over towards Florida tomorrow, so we'll try to cover that early. I'm going to try my best to. No promises. Like I said, my sleep schedule's a little messed up. Usually I go to bed at that time, so I'm going to try to fix it. I've been in night mode for a while now, so I'm going to try to fix that before things pop off. But if I'm not there, then that's why. But just know I tried my hardest to. All right, y'all. Well, stream's going to head off here in approximately 2 minutes. So go ahead and say goodbye to your friends, family, anybody you're hanging out with in the chat, guys. Once again, y'all, consider subscribing if you have not already. Oh, my gosh. My phone just went off. Anyways, but yeah, consider subscribing if you have not already. It would be greatly appreciated. And, not only would you stay up to date with the weather and all that stuff going on and, all of that, it would be awesome if you guys could do that. Also, check out our merch, guys. We got ourselves some pretty cool merch down below. I'm going to use my gaming channel to get the merch. By the way, the gaming channel is not 18, or it's 18 plus. If you guys want to subscribe to our gaming channel, might hop on there later today. I don't know. We'll see. And all right, guys. Well, once again, thank you all so much for joining, and we'll catch you guys later tomorrow. All right, peace out, my friends. We'll see you later on.